The scent of freshly baked cookies fills the kitchen, grounding me in a sea of memories. I can still hear David's little feet pattering across the floor, his eager eyes lighting up as I pull the warm chocolate chip cookies from the oven. Those moments were blissful. They encapsulated my devotion, each batch a symbol of my unwavering love and sacrifice. I close my eyes and envision the quilt I made for him, a patchwork of vibrant colors stitched together during sleepless nights. Each patch held a piece of my heart, a promise that I would always support him, nurturing his dreams while burying my own. I put my aspirations of becoming a writer away, believing my sacrifices would be acknowledged. Eventually, the hope of receiving love in return kept me afloat. But as time passed, I sensed an invisible rift appeared, especially after Amelia entered our lives. In the early days of their marriage, the laughter flowed easily between us, and I cherished my role as David's mother. Yet, beneath her freshly painted smile, I felt a chill creeping in. Each thinly veiled remark aimed at me felt like a dagger. Comments about my cooking, my home, my parenting style. Maybe if you tried this recipe with a little less garlic, or the living room could use a modern update, don't you think? With every comment, my heart tightened, sensing the power shift. These days, the kitchen that once echoed with laughter now seems to suffocate under a thick blanket of silence. I can't shake the feeling that my contributions are being overlooked. Where once I received warm hugs from David, I now feel the sting of his complicity in Amelia's dismissive behavior. The void between us grows deeper every time I glimpse my own reflection in the fading family photos adorning our walls. I remember the last Mother's Day brunch where Amelia's laughter overshadowed everything. While she distributed flowers, I sat forgotten in the corner, a ghost among the living. Her smile glimmered like a knife, sharp and unwelcome, while David's silence cut deeper than any word she could utter. This ongoing neglect weighs heavy on my heart, and the tension fills my home with doubt, sneaking in like a cold draft. As I stand before the remnants of cookies on the counter, I am acutely aware of the shifting dynamics around me. Each moment, once bursting with life, now feels like petals falling from a wilting flower. But no longer can I allow myself to fade into the background. It's time to rediscover my identity before it is extinguished completely. I must confront these shadows, gather my thoughts, and plan my next steps. Beneath the weight of silence, I find a new resolve. I can reclaim my narrative, starting now, determined, focused, and ready to fight for the dignity I deserve. Through love and sacrifice, I've built my place in this family, and it's time to remind everyone what I bring to the table. The first time I met Amelia, it was a crisp spring day, and the sun poured through the blooming cherry blossoms outside my kitchen window. David had brought her home for Sunday dinner, keen to showcase the woman he had chosen to share his life with. My heart swelled with pride as I set the table, carefully arranging the dishes I knew he loved. My homemade lasagna, the vibrant salad sprinkled with herbs from my garden, and a decadent chocolate dessert. She arrived with a radiant smile, her blonde hair shining like spun gold, and I instantly wanted to embrace her. In that moment, my visions of a loving future danced before me. Sunday dinners filled with laughter, grandchildren running in and out of my home, warmth radiating throughout our family. But as the evening unfolded, the prickling unease like an intruder crept in. At first, it was subtle, the way she raised an eyebrow when I served my signature dish, lasagna that had been perfected over decades. "Wow, Clara, is that the secret family recipe?" She laughed, but it felt thin, sharp, as if she were testing the waters of her new role. Later, did she really suggest I should try a less heavy sauce next time? My heart sank a little deeper. As she exchanged playful banter with David, I was struck by how easily he teased back, their laughter twirling in the air while I stood on the sidelines invisible. Gone were those moments when he would incorporate me into his jokes, pulling me into a circle of laughter. Instead, I was slowly becoming a fixture in his background, a mere spectator to their nearness. In the weeks that followed, I noticed Amelia's subtle barbs piling up like dirty dishes stacked in the sink. "You know, Clara," she would say while I prepared dinner, "maybe try more fresh ingredients. I just got this fantastic organic produce delivery. You should really think about it." Each comment felt like a brush against my pride, like the surface scratch of a beloved vase. She didn't seem to grasp that I had always tried to provide the best for my family, but instead, her interference began edging me out of my own kitchen. Each Sunday became harder to endure, not only because of Amelia's remarks, but because of David's deafening silence. I wanted him to defend me, to validate my years of nurturing. Instead, his lack of support left me gasping for acknowledgement, like a flower wilting in a dark corner. I would catch glimpses of amusement in Amelia's eyes that pierced straight through me, deeper than any words spoken. I felt like I was carrying my love for him like an invisible weight, and as I turned to him with hopeful glances during tense moments, all I found was a wall of indifference. As summer approached, I found solace in my garden, the one space where I could breathe and remember who I was beyond the confines of their world. I spent hours digging my hands into the earth, the smell of rich soil fueling my spirit. My lavender bloomed beautifully, reminding me of the faintest whisper of joy that still existed within me. Yet, even as I cultivated life in the garden, the shadows cast from the house felt heavier. Amelia's shrewdness grew with the season. I began to realize that she knew how to play her part in the family tableau. Even in simple family gatherings, her need to assert control became apparent as she interjected herself into conversations, artfully directing our dialogue. "This is where Jake is going to go for his soccer camp, isn't that exciting?" she proclaimed one afternoon while we sat on the porch, as if my every contribution meant nothing. My grandchild Jake bounced along, caught in the crossfire, unaware of the undercurrents swirling around us. The tension thickened as her comments continued to undermine my role, yet my son remained silent, his eyes avoiding mine like a wave crashing onto the shore, pulling away from the confrontation. I felt the wall closing in, isolating me from both my son and the family I had devoted my life to. One evening, while setting the table for another Sunday dinner, I noticed a framed photo of our family on the side table, a joyful picture from just a couple of years ago. David and I stood with our arms around each other and his childhood friends, all laughing, freely embracing every cherished moment. My fingers brushed against the frame, longing to feel that warmth again, but it was already fading. The bright laughter and love in that image felt like a distant memory, overshadowed by Amelia's growing influence. As dinner arrived and Amelia reveled in commanding the conversation, I observed my family drift farther away. I realized I needed to address this imbalance, even if it broke the silence hovering over us. I needed to remind David of the sacrifices I had made and urge him to confront what was unraveling. But how would I bridge the gap created by his complacency? Determined, I resolved to gather the courage to confront both David and Amelia. I would show them I was not to be silenced or pushed out. I needed my voice to matter again, to reclaim my right to be seen, to be heard. It was becoming painfully clear. I must reclaim my place, not just in the family, but in my own life. The journey back to dignity would be fraught, a journey into unraveling the threads binding me to their manipulations. But it was a journey I was desperate to embark upon, for the sake of my heart, my identity, and ultimately my family. Days turn into weeks, and a season of heavy silence blankets our Sunday dinners. It feels like an uninvited weight, thickening the air between us, never relenting. Each gathering is an exercise in endurance, with Amelia's presence magnifying my inadequacies. I wonder if David truly sees it, or if he's too enraptured by her charm to notice the subtle jabs aimed my way. One afternoon, immersed in my garden, I pruned the lavender, repeating the task like a meditation to reclaim my focus. The sun shines warmly on my hands, grounding me. Yet with each snip, I can't shake the sense of decay creeping into my home life. The trellis I planted stands bare in the corner, a haunting reminder of my own hopes. I've cultivated life in this soil, but it seems even the strongest roots are threatened by an unexpected weed. That evening, Amelia arrives with another flourish, her laughter slicing through the door as she enters. David greets her with beaming eyes, and I feel a flutter of bitterness in my chest. How quickly the warmth that once enveloped our family home has turned to chill. I take a breath and prepare to navigate the charged atmosphere of yet another dinner where I feel reduced to a specter. As we gather around the table, I watch Amelia steer conversations with a convincing grace, effortlessly shifting topics to highlight her own accomplishments. Just last week, I organized this lovely garden party, Clara. You should borrow some of my ideas. It's both a suggestion and an underhanded insult that smarts beneath the surface of her well-practiced smile. David chimes in, adding, "Yeah, Mom, Amelia has a real knack for this stuff. You should consider it." My heart twists painfully. Yes, I had cultivated this home, hosted countless gatherings, yet here I sit feeling increasingly irrelevant. The tension thickens when Amelia presents a pastry, a vibrant tart that she claims is one of her specialties. She beams, eyeing the family with delight, while I quietly simmer over a life spent nurturing culinary traditions. David's praise ignites a volcano of anger within me. "Your lasagna is great, but perhaps you could learn a few tricks?" The words ring like a bell, loud and discordant. Then, in a moment of clarity, I feel a shift in my resolve. I need to reclaim my narrative and assert myself, not just for me, but for my family. Tightening my grip around the edge of the table, I take a breath. "Amelia," I say, steady but firm, "tradition has value that goes deeper than marketing trends. It's about love and the memories we share." The table falls silent, a gasp escaping here and there, disbelief floating in the air. David's expression shifts as he turns to study me, a realization dawning in his eyes. Amelia stumbles over her words, her smile waning just slightly. "Of course, Clara, traditions can be lovely," she offers, yet the edge of urgency clings to her tone. I sense the power dynamic beginning to shift, and the realization of my strength ignites a spark within me. Slowly, I begin to gather evidence, moments of disregard, subtle manipulations, and oft-ignored sacrifices. Each half-joke, every muttered comment aligns like pieces of a puzzle I refuse to overlook. This role as the neglected mother is one I can reshape. With every Sunday that rolls around, I become more adept at reading their interactions, noting how David's laughter arises when Amelia is present, and how blissfully oblivious he remains to her subtle disclaims. I'm weaving together threads of our shared history, items to validate my experiences, hoping they will arm me with strength as I confront this twisted dynamic. It becomes harder to bear with each interaction that further isolates me. I can almost hear the echo of our earlier laughter haunting the walls. My heart stirs with urgency. I need to remind them that I am still here, still weaving our family's tapestry, and that it will not be erased. One Sunday, as I arrange my carefully prepared lasagna, I catch a glimpse of our family photo on the side table, stark in its warmth compared to the cold. I remember those shared nights where my hands held the weight of family as we gathered around, each plate infused with love. I feel a surge of conviction. My place in this family is not arbitrary. Preparations for my next steps begin to form in my mind. I gather my thoughts and formulate my plan. I decide to confront both David and Amelia, to speak my truth, shaking loose the chains of silence that have held me captive within my home. I want shared recognition of love I've given, the significance of my role. With each passing day, I assert myself more firmly within my own world. Dignity, once a distant voice, becomes a familiar mantra in my heart. They can mute me at the table, never in my heart. I may have been overshadowed, but I will no longer cower in the corners of my family's life. I will stand resolute, reclaiming my worth, reclaiming my space, and enabling conversations that elevate love above manipulation. The time for change has come. I will insist on seeing my story rewritten. My journey toward reclaiming my dignity begins anew, and I traverse this path with unwavering resolve, one step at a time. Days unfold in the slow agony of gathering my thoughts, blending memories that culminate in moments, each mocking jab from Amelia knitting together a tapestry of resentment. It has come to the point where I require clarity, the kind that arises from the whispers of the past, laid constantly at my feet, demanding to be acknowledged. I must gather evidence to confront David and Amelia, pieces of our shared history that validate my feelings and reveal the undercurrents of their dismissive behavior. As I prepare for another Sunday dinner, the familiar rhythm of the kitchen becomes my sanctuary. The sharp click of the knife against the cutting board, the sweet aroma of simmering sauces, it transports me momentarily into a world where love once thrived. I close my eyes and gather my thoughts. Each sound is a comforting reminder of my past contributions, the warmth of family dinners filled with laughter echoing off the walls, memories of moments where the table was a sacred space. I quickly begin jotting down the instances that have chipped away at my sense of belonging. I remember the barbecue when I made my classic potato salad, and Amelia belittled it with quips about her trendy quinoa dish. I felt like a ghost in my own home. I also recall the countless hours spent helping David with his homework, unconditional support that now seems to be lost in translation. It feels as if I've slowly blurred into the background while my sacrifices fade in importance. Those reflections transform into a lifeline, a way to reclaim my narrative. I need David to acknowledge my role, and Amelia must understand that her jests cut deeper than she realizes. My heart races as I gather these memories into a small notebook, one that signifies the weight of their meaning and the urgency of my message. With every passing day, I prepare myself mentally. I look in the mirror each morning, my reflection staring back with determination. They can mute me at the table, never in my heart, I repeat silently, building an inner rhythm of resilience. I remind myself that I am anchored in love. I have given so much, and now I deserve to be seen. As Sunday approaches, I reach out to close friends, inviting them over for coffee. Their familiarity offers comfort, and they listen intently as I recount events of my recent past. Those subtle barbs, the dismissive remarks, the shunning of family traditions. Their supportive nods and gentle affirmations validate my urgency. "You deserve to be heard, Clara. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise," one friend insists, and her words resonate within me. Sunday dawns. I labor over my lasagna, layers of noodles and meat cascading together, melding the flavors that represent my history with the family. As I arrange the table, putting my mother's china on display, I reflect on how much this process means to me. Each piece tells a story of our past, a time when love was also served at this table. When David and Amelia arrive, there's a palpable tension in the air. They exchange pleasantries, but I can sense Amelia's tension simmering just beneath her poised exterior. David seems blissfully oblivious, laughing at her jokes while I swallow my rising frustration. The moment I've prepared for is upon us, and I can hardly catch my breath. "Clara, what a meal! You really outdid yourself," David comments, but the warmth of his words feels superficial. I take a moment, steadied by the mantra that resonates in my heart. "Thank you, David," I respond, holding my gaze steady. "But I want to talk about something I've been reflecting on." I draw in a breath, the room thickening with expectation as Amelia's smile falters. I lift my notebook, printed snapshots from family dinners, and photographs of cherished moments tremble in my hands. Here's a glimpse into our history. Moments you may not have realized hold significant meaning for me, I say, my voice steady. Like that one time when you told me to retire my potato salad. Or when I stayed up late helping you with homework, believing it built our bond. I want you to see how easily these moments slip by unnoticed. A silence envelops us, neither Amelia nor David anticipating this confrontation. I watch Amelia carefully, her facade beginning to tremble. "It was just a joke, Clara," she finally deflects, but I don't waver. "I get that, Amelia. I truly do, but jokes hurt too," I respond, urgency lacing my words. I want our family interactions to be about shared support, not undermining. I'm not seeking to point fingers, but what I have felt is that my contributions go unrecognized. David's eyes widen, and I can see the gears turning in his mind. I continue, passionate and unyielding. "We've built a family on love and support, and I want us to remember that, rather than allow these little comments to dilute our unity." A shift takes place, like a crack forming in a once solid facade. Amelia's carefully crafted smile slips as she tries to regroup. "Well, I thought it was encouraging. I just want to bring fresh ideas." Fresh ideas are one thing, but they shouldn't come at the expense of cherished family traditions, I counter, feeling the room's atmosphere swell with intensity. This has become more than just a conversation. It's a confrontation that has been brewing for far too long. Amelia's expression wavers, and I know I've broken through the defenses she had carefully erected. I sense David's recognition starting to dawn, understanding the unspoken struggles I have faced, the unnecessary weight I've carried. "I never meant to overshadow you, Clara. I see that now," David admits, remorse evident in his voice. "I thought I was simply going along with Amelia's ideas without realizing how it affected you." There's a moment, a collective breath, as we reassess the dynamic that has woven between us, a tension that can now be loosened. As the conversation deepens, I realize this is just the beginning of laying a solid foundation for honesty among us. We've shifted from an old narrative filled with division to something fresh, seeking unity and acknowledgement together. The journey ahead will be complex, but as we sit down to dinner, I sense hope blooming amidst the simmering emotions. I hold on tightly to my mantra as we break bread together. They can mute me at the table, never in my heart. The warmth of love feels palpable in the space between us, as each of us begins to open up, reclaiming the narrative of our shared lives as a family. The weeks slip by, each Sunday dinner evolving into a compassionate unfolding of our familial truths. I feel each subtle change, the lightness of laughter returning and conversation slipping back into rhythms of warmth and connection. David engages more, his humor evolving from mere retorts to meaningful contributions, while Amelia softens. The cut of her words is gentler now, inviting rather than dismissive. Yet, a specter of doubt lingers at the edges of my consciousness. an echo of past grievances reminding me that change is often a fragile construct. Late one evening, while sorting through old photo albums, I unearthed a treasure trove of memories, the snapshots chronicling birthdays and holidays. David's 5th birthday stands out, cake smeared on his cheeks, his joyous laughter resonating in the air. I remember capturing that glee, savoring the pure connection with my son. Love that shines through those moments, and for a heartbeat, I lose myself in nostalgia, recalling simpler times before the Fishers began. That Saturday, a text from David interrupts my reverie, inviting me to a family game night. "Hey, Mom, Amelia suggested we have a game night this weekend. Think it could be a fun way to bond?" Excitement warbles inside me, tempered by a trace of cautious skepticism. Would this evening foster genuine connection, or would we find ourselves teetering on the precipice of humor that could quickly devolve into jabs? As I prepare a spread of snacks, colorful charcuterie and popcorn, I take extra care to cultivate an atmosphere of warm hospitality. I arrange the table meticulously, ensuring it emanates the warmth of a home rejuvenated. I cinematically envision the laughter and connection I hope to cultivate, a juxtaposition to the shadows that linger. When David and Amelia arrive, the initial vibrancy electrifies the air. The mood is buoyant, filled with the manic energy of anticipation. David dashes in first, his laughter vibrant, lighting up the room, while Amelia steps in with practiced grace, donning an enticing smile that fails to mask the tension I feel lurking. As we settle down to play, laughter flows freely at first, David's humor mingling with Amelia's charming remarks. But soon, as the games take shape, I notice the subtle shifts that could spiral quickly out of control. During a round of charades, Amelia bursts into a playful performance, and as she glances in my direction, her eyes sparkle with something prickly. There's a brief moment where her smile flattens into something darker, a playfulness twisted into a silent challenge. A knot tightens in my abdomen, and instinct urges me to retreat. I acknowledge the tension blossoming in the room, the happiness that hung in the fabric beginning to fray at the seams. Instead of shrinking, I breathe deeper, steadying my resolve. I will not let this moment unravel. "Amelia," I venture, my voice retaining an unexpected calm. "While your enthusiasm is infectious, I'd prefer we keep our remarks uplifting rather than veering back into cutting territory." The game halts as David's laughter dissipates, confusion spreading across his brows. "What do you mean?" he asks, caught between concern and disbelief. "I'm just saying that sometimes jokes carry heavier weight than intended. We're here to enjoy each other's company," I reply, anchoring myself in the essence of community we've worked to rebuild. Our laughter should uplift rather than undermine. Silence wraps us tightly, a palpable tension cloaked in uncertainty, while I sense Amelia processing the words spoken. A shift flickers across her features, her defense mechanisms hover, ready to react, but glimmers of realization break through. "I'm just joking, Clara, and I thought we were having fun," she deflects, but the tone doesn't carry its previous sharpness. "I understand, Amelia," I reply, softening my demeanor, "but sometimes playful banter can inadvertently hurt. Let's find joy in our connections without risk." In this moment, I feel the generational divide inch closer, and my words aim to bridge the gap. David's expression morphs from confusion to understanding as the realization illuminates his eyes. I hadn't seen it like that before. I thought laughter included some gentle ribbing, that it showed affection. "There's a balance, David," I interject, "between humor and derision. It shouldn't overshadow the love we share. We need to create an environment where everyone feels valued." A collective silence wraps around us, the weight of unspoken grievances breathing life into the room as the remnants of our past shimmer for attention. Amelia's expression softens, and I can see the struggle of understanding weaving across her face. "I didn't mean to upset you, Clara," she finally admits, much quieter. "I thought it was all in good fun." I meet her gaze, feeling compassion swell in my chest. "I know. It's easy to slip into familiarity, but let's tread carefully. I want this to be a space we can all thrive in." Next, there's a pause, a moment where I sense a fundamental shift occurring. A quiet acknowledgement settles among us, transformation crackling in the air. I can see Amelia's shoulders relaxing, and for the first time, her determination to contribute affectionately rises above trepidation. "Agreed," David affirms, his eyes reflecting a renewed commitment to shift perspective. "Let's be supportive of each other and celebrate our connections rather than resort to playful digs." As we resume the game, each turn becomes imbued with new energy, one filled with warmth rather than veiled hostility. Flashes of laughter ripple through the night, sparkling brightly as David displays creative ingenuity, and Amelia reveals a side of her wit that feels true rather than combative. I revel in the vibrancy, my heart swelling with gratitude. Slivers of joy cascade around us, each laugh, each smile like notes harmonizing into a beautiful melody of connection. It's an evening where my earlier beliefs that change could be elusive feel quashed under the blanket of encouragement enveloping our gathering. Through this pivotal turning point, I indulge in the knowledge that our family can shift from the grip of past misunderstandings into a space filled with respect and joy. I savor these moments as we each shed our former selves amidst a cascade of clarity, excitement blossoming in its wake. We're in this together, I calmly remind myself, feeling empowered. They can mute me at the table, never in my heart. The mantra rings clear, an anthem of resilience threading its way into the fabric of our connections. In this moment, we embrace the newly established bond, leaving behind echoes of old interactions. We rise together, united in love and understanding as the night unfolds, a reminder that transformation can spring from uncertainty, the beginning of resurgence in our familial tapestry. The following weeks feel like a rejuvenating dance. With each gathering, the bonds within our family flourish. I monitor the subtle changes, David's bright laughter, Amelia's willingness to engage, each interaction infused with warmth. Yet, I remind myself that this transformative change requires nurturing, a delicate balance I'm eager to uphold. I hold tightly to my mantra, reinforcing my commitment. They can mute me at the table, never in my heart. Every family dinner provides opportunities for connection and growth. As I prepare meals that reflect not just nourishment but also care, I relish the rituals, chopping fresh vegetables, stirring fragrant spices. The kitchen, once a backdrop to discord, transforms into a sanctuary filled with love. I feel the heartbeats of my family reverberate within these walls. One sunny afternoon, I decide to introduce a game that challenges our perceptions. After arranging a bouquet of flowers from my garden, I present my idea at dinner. Let's play two truths and a lie. It could help us learn more about each other. Excited murmurs of approval fill the room. The game unfolds gracefully. With each revelation, from childhood secrets to quirky habits, an intricate tapestry of our lives emerges. When it's Amelia's turn, she reveals a surprising truth about her rebellious teenage years. In that moment, I see her vulnerability not as a weakness, but as an invitation to deepen our connection. Amid laughter and playful teasing, I remain aware of how our past struggles could easily resurface. But there's something buoyant in the air. Each story we share strengthens the threads of trust. I realize we're not just playing a game, We're creating a new narrative that celebrates honesty over hurt. In the weeks that follow, I suggest we adopt values that define our family, encouraging conversations about kindness, support, and growth. Over another cozy dinner, I present the idea of a family pact, a promise to uplift each other. Amid exchanging glances, reluctance turns into curiosity, and soon we each write down a value we want to embody. When Amelia reads forgiveness, I see the light in her eyes shift, a reflection of her internal shift. This is significant, she says softly, vulnerability surfacing. I've been holding on to grudges for too long. I want to let go. Her admission resonates like a sweet melody in the air, and David immediately supports her, nodding in understanding. As weeks go by, we accumulate these values like precious stones, and our evenings together feel increasingly harmonious. I sense the foundation of mutual respect, firming with each gathering. David expresses his passion for art over dinner, revealing a side of him I hadn't seen in years. Amelia follows suit, sharing her love of cooking, and suddenly the evenings brim with enthusiasm. On a whim, I push the boundaries by introducing themed dinners inspired by different cuisines. Excitement dances in the room as we explore Indian, Italian, and Japanese dishes. The kitchen fills with laughter, and I watch as we experiment together, sharing not only food but also joy and camaraderie. One evening, while preparing a vibrant chicken tikka masala, Amelia offers her help in the kitchen. The warmth of the spices mingling with a sense of cooperation creates a comforting atmosphere. "This looks delicious, Clara," she comments, her tone genuine. I realize the sight stems from her appreciation rather than obligation. "We're blending flavors," I say, stirring the pot and letting her join the rhythm of our shared space. Expressions of gratitude seep into our interactions, and I feel our family drawing closer. Later that week, I suggest we revisit our family values during dinner. "How are we doing with our commitments?" I ask, watching their faces light up with enthusiasm. David responds first, stating, "I feel the support. I can talk about my day freely, and it's like I finally belong." Amelia interjects, "I'm learning to forgive and let go. It's liberating." Her honest admission reaffirms the growth we've cultivated together, and I bask in the warmth of our collective achievements. As dinner progresses, I introduce a new activity. "Let's create a family vision board," I propose, excited about the prospect of visualizing our hopes and dreams. "Let's capture what we want our future to look like together." The idea is met with enthusiastic chatter, and over glorious homemade pizzas, we plan our vision. Art supplies spread across the dining table. Laughter rises as we cut out images from magazines and share our aspirations. I enjoy seeing each of us paint our canvas as if we're embodying the very dreams that connect us. In the highs of creative energy, I ensure there's still space for our values. I glance at each of their faces, soaking in their joy and fulfillment in this newly formed bond. I realize the strength of our commitment to make these values visible, not only in our words but in our actions as well. As we finish our projects, the evening feels enveloped in warmth and encouragement. I remember how it felt to sit silently, separated by misunderstandings, and what a breath of fresh air this new narrative brings. When I take a moment to reflect, I breathe in the vibrant energy in the room, the laughter, the creativity, the connection coiling like a string around our hearts. I'm filled with gratitude, embracing the essence of our journey. The shift is immensely fulfilling. I find myself echoing the mantra as the evening draws to a close. "They can mute me at the table, never in my heart." With every gathering, we solidify our family values, embolden our connections, and redefine our dynamics. a testament to the triumph of resilience and love. As we gather around our vision board, I look at the colorful dreams sketched all around it, the aspirations that bind us together in a celebration of openness, support, and shared purpose. This is the family I have always longed for, one where each voice harmonizes beautifully, creating music out of the chaos that once pervaded our lives. As we gather around our completed vision board, the vibrant array of dreams illuminates the room. I take a moment to cherish the transforming energy. This is everything I had hoped for. The warmth and solidarity entwined within our aspirations speak volumes of our commitment to each other. Just then, the sudden sound of a knock at the door catches our attention. My heart electrifies with anxiety. I can't shake the feeling of dread. I glance at David and Amelia, sensing their taut expressions mirroring my own apprehension. The last thing we need is an unwelcome intrusion into our newfound harmony. Who could it be? David muses, a hint of curiosity lacing his voice. The door opens to reveal Marjorie, my sister-in-law. A chill creeps up my spine, her presence an echo of scrutiny and judgment that had long overshadowed our family gatherings. My stomach knots as I prepare for the onslaught of remarks that had often belittled our efforts. "Surprise! Just thought I'd stop by," Marjorie chirps, stepping into the living room, her smile bright but hollow. The joyous atmosphere shifts, tension sizzling in the air as she surveys our vision board. "What's this?" she pokes, her tone dripping with skepticism. "A family craft project?" "This is our vision board," I assert decisively, determination rising within me. We've been outlining our dreams as a family, focusing on values like support and forgiveness. David and Amelia remain poised beside me, their expressions reflecting anticipation. I feel a flicker of hope. Maybe today we can turn this confrontation into an opportunity for change. Marjorie crosses her arms, casting a derisive look at the board. "Forgiveness? Do you really think you can erase the past with a little art?" A surge of old tensions rushes back, but I stand firm. "No, Marjorie," I reply, my voice steady. "It's not about erasing anything. It's about acknowledging our mistakes and choosing to better ourselves. This is a commitment to our future." For a moment, the air thickens with uncertainty. A wall between us begins to crack, revealing the possibility of a new dialogue. I take a deep breath, tapping into a deeper well of courage. We're not the same people we were. We're building something better. I glance at David and Amelia, and they each step forward, ready to support me. David says, "Mom is right. We deserve to talk about our lives openly, without censure or mockery." Amelia adds, "This is about being a family, together, without the baggage from before." The shift in the atmosphere becomes palpable. Solidarity radiates from us. Marjorie's confident demeanor falters, though her stubbornness lingers like a cloud. "I didn't mean to interfere," she murmurs, her smile faltering. "Your opinions have hurt us," I press gently but firmly. "But we choose not to let negativity define us anymore. We're choosing to highlight values that support and uplift." As I speak, a profound sense of clarity washes over me. I see the past converging with the present, a place where we can redefine who we are, free from the weight of judgment. I hold my ground brimming with resilience. Marjorie struggles with the unexpected turn, her facade slipping. "Perhaps I underestimated you," she admits almost reluctantly. The remark feels like a pivotal moment, one where walls start crumbling. I can sense our family's narrative shifting, our fragile bond reinforced by the courage we've summoned. In the aftermath of Marjorie's visit, the warmth returns to our space. Although the disparaging presence lingers, it no longer has a hold on us. As Marjorie retreats, I breathe a sigh of relief mingled with triumph. Turning to my family, I find solace in the strength we've forged. My mantra rises unbidden. I whisper, "They can mute me at the table, never in my heart." The more we claim our voices, the more unbreakable our unity feels. Our journey solidifies in that fleeting moment as we stand together, a true testament to how far we've come. I realize this new narrative is ours to shape, continuously evolving with resilience, love, and connection at its core. The chaos that once plagued our interactions starts to feel like a distant echo. It is replaced by vibrant laughter, heartfelt conversations, and a renewed purpose as we craft meaningful memories, bolstered by our commitment to mutual growth. As we gather together again, ready to embrace the possibilities, I know our family has emerged from the shadows of the past. This is more than a simple vision board. It's a declaration of who we are and who we aspire to be.